Good evening. I call to order the closed session of the Mayor and City Council meeting at 4:04 p.m. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here, and thank you to those viewing remotely. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem is not present at the moment. Councilmember Reynoso is not present at the moment. Councilmember Calvin?
Present.
Councilmember Alexander?
Here.
Mayor Tran?
Here. Thank you. Moving on to public comments for closed session. Madam City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have 3, Harry Hatch, Treasurer Ortiz, and Kimberly Calvin.
Thank you. Please approach the podium and state your name.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Harry Hatch, Ward 7. I'd like to discuss your item C, the 300 block of North E Street. Now, I know on July 3rd, you met on this and probably made decisions, but we were told only gave staff direction from your attorney. Now, the fire occurs on the 8th, and between the 8th and now, the council hasn't met. So there's nothing should have been done regarding the Harris building yet until the council makes that decision. Because it's the council's decision whether to go forward with this purchase of property. Now, I've heard some people say that it's structurally sound. Well, it lost the roof. Roof went into this top floor. Top floor started going down into the next floor. You might be able to save the bottom 2 floors, but now they were sending 18,000 gallons of water from 6 elevated platforms into that building. What's happened to what was in the basement? It's full of water. If it hasn't already been drained, and anything in there would be highly contaminated. We do not need another oxbow, this one in the middle of San Bernardino. Please, we need to walk away from this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I have to agree with Mr. Hatch. And looking at the fact that the city doesn't own the building yet, is there insurance? What would be the plan to take on that type of liability at this time? What would the cost of demolition be if we are going to have to demolish it? If it's not, I really hope you just pause. I know that you're in the middle of escrow, so there may be some flexibility in that, not to put that burden directly on our shoulders. Because our city, as we discussed a couple meetings ago, the liabilities and the budget, they don't add up. And we have another liability issue on the agenda, which is this ongoing case with Steve Kerrigan. And what I find interesting is now that there's a lawsuit, everybody wants to talk. Like the cities that don't want to work with Coffin Associates or Bob Hall because of the things that have come out in the lawsuit about their people talking. Well, we're hearing that Frank Rojas said he never said anything about race. So where's the investigation into these allegations? Or how about now that the mayor's team and others in the community are working on a recall for Fred and Theodore Sanchez, it's being said to sign the petition because Fred's a liability to the city. Not only did Susie Soren accept liability for what happened, the mayor's team says that Fred did too, and that that'll shortly come out in the ongoing petition for his removal. So how are you blaming him? Eventually, the truth does always present itself. And you know what happens? The same thing that happened with Gigi and Gary. They sue you, and then you have to pay. And now we've settled the claims with the girls that the mayor did nothing about when she was an HR director, that the former mayor was allowed to sexually harass. You're going to settle the claims with the guys. Gigi and Gary's claims are coming to an end. How much more money are we going to have to expend on behalf of retaliation towards elected officials, mismanagement, not telling the truth and not being transparent or accountable? We know that Damon left his folder twice. We get it, you're busy, but you know what? You left it out for 2 to 3 days. at an event. You did, and it's in the newspaper. And you changed your story, and we know that you left it in the room because the employee told on you. So I think what's important, Damon, is while you let Kim hang out to dry and not tell the truth, which is ridiculous, is that eventually it will come out. And you guys should have told the truth on August 28th, but you didn't. You just kept thinking you could blame people, and it's wrong. So please, at some point, do the right thing, because you wouldn't want this to happen to your wife. You wouldn't want this to happen to your sister, but you're letting this black woman stand here and carry the burden that is not hers to bear. Talk about racism. Talk about turning your back.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I stand before you today as a resident of the city of San Bernardino. I stand before you because Steve Kerrigan's claim is back on the agenda for closed session. And I stand here to tell the public of the city of San Bernardino that I do not stand for the city of San Bernardino settling with Mr. Kerrigan. This claim is meritless, and all of you know that. And the community would know that if you had released the entire 100 pages of the report instead of only 13. You owe that to the community for them to see the entire report, as they are the ones that paid for that report. So again, I'm on record today to say that I do not support settling with Mr. Steve Kerrigan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. We will now convene into closed session at 4:10 p.m. I call to order this joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council, acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency of the City of San Bernardino, the San Bernardino City Housing Authority, and as the San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority at 5:38 p.m. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem. Here. Councilmember Reynoso.
Here.
Councilmember Calvin.
Present.
Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
Mayor Tran.
Here, thank you. Before we conduct city business, as a friendly reminder, as the elected leaders of the city, we will endeavor to be respectful to each other, our public, and especially our staff. Our behavior this evening sets the tone for how our residents, business community, and others view our city. We must conduct city business with professionalism and respectful behavior to build trust, credibility, and move our city forward. We shall commit to these values and foster a positive and productive working environment that is conducive to achieving our goals effectively and efficiently. Now, moving forward to invocation and pledge, Chaplain Nelson Glass from San Bernardino Police Department Chaplains will lead tonight's invocation. Please approach the podium at this time. And Councilmember Alexander, would you be willing to lead us in a pledge of allegiance? Please rise.
Grace is God. We ask for your grace as these summer months become longer and hotter. Allow your grace to rain down upon us that we may be patient and loving towards each other. Continue to bless our mayor as she improves the image of our city. Please bless our council people as they listen to us, the people, and do the work that we ask. Continue to bless our men and women in blue, the fire department, our paramedics, our medical. Continue to bless our city and our citizens as we always ask in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Glass, and thank you, Councilmember Alexander. City Attorney, is there anything to report from closed session?
Mayor, members of the council, and members of the public, we did have numerous closed session items to discuss this evening. We completed discussions on all except for existing litigation in the Kerrigan matter, which I anticipate will go back into closed session, and we do not have reportable action on any of those items.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Moving on to appointments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on the appointments? Seeing none, can I get a motion from council?
I'll move approval. Move to approve as a slate.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
And there's a second. Thank you so much. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Mayor Tran?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, council. Thank you, City Clerk. Can I call up Mrs. Olivias and Mr. Kroger? So we can have, Miss Kroger. Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
If you could both come up to the stage, and we'll have you swear in by our city clerk.
Okay, if I could have you both state your name.
Jody Krager.
Stacia Olivas.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic? That you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California? That you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you're about to enter?
Yes.
I do. Thank you.
Congratulations, Stacia and Jody, for being sworn in as commissioners. Please give them a big round of applause for stepping up and serving our community. And we do have city pins too as well? Yeah. Okay, great.
I look forward to serving our community, and thank you for this opportunity. Sorry.
Let me first. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think we announced whose commissioner is whose, but Jody is mine and is going to the Animal Control Commission. And she comes to us with a lot of experience in animal control, worked here in the city, actually in that department. So I'm very pleased to add her to our commission for animal control. So thank you for serving, and thank you as well. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to get started.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And I should mention, Stacia is going to be assigned with the Measure S Citizens Oversight Committee. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to public hearings. Please note that item number 3 under public hearing is being pulled from tonight's agenda by staff, and it will come back in the future meeting. Number 4 is being heard after the consent calendar, as it was noticed for 7 p.m. And if you require Spanish interpretation, we do have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time to indicate you will need translation assistance. In addition, we have interpreting listening devices available in the back. Seeing none, we could hold off for the public comment. Okay, so the item for, item 5, public hearing and resolution confirming assessments for delinquent solid waste collection service charges on the property tax roll for fiscal year 2024-25. I'm opening the public hearing at 5:44 p.m. Could city staff provide a presentation on this item?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The item before you is an annual assessment process that we go through for the delinquent solid waste charges that have accrued. That's not working. Under our municipal code section 824-050, we require to have a public hearing on special assessments and liens. This public hearing that we are conducting tonight is to consider the placement of delinquent solid waste accounts that have been unpaid onto the property tax rolls for the upcoming tax period. This is part of an annual process that we go through. Under section 824-050, as part of the administrative hearing process for tonight, we have sent out notices to the affected property owners and tenants of the premises in which refuse accounts are delinquent, and we have prepared for your consideration tonight a listing of all of those delinquent accounts. Once you have completed the public hearing and closed the public hearing, we will be asking you to approve the final report as submitted. And then that report will then be certified and sent to the county tax collector for application to the public, tax process. We've had this process started for the preliminary is July 1st. Tax lien submissions will occur on August 10th, and the last day that the public, anybody that has delinquent accounts, may make a payment to Burtech is Monday, August 19th of this year. And we do have Burtech in the lobby of the library here to accept any payments of anybody that wishes to collect this. What this does for you is that on the August 19th deadline, that is the last moment that anybody who has a delinquency, so even though we are presenting to you tonight the listing, the register of those that are delinquent, we continue to collect and we continue to work towards getting people to pay up and be in compliance. Just a little, to give you a little bit of background, we started this process back in April. At the time that we started, we had about $1.2 million worth of unpaid tax bill or unpaid refuse bills in the city. Through the efforts of both Burtech and our department, we have been able to collect approximately 500,000 of those. So as of July 10th, the unpaid solid waste bills are now down to 730,000. That's still quite a bit that we are looking at. Just to kind of give you a little bit of breakdown further, we started out with about 5,338 people in the city on the residential side that were delinquent. We are now down to about 2,246. So we've been able to get approximately 50% of the public that owes the refuse to come in, and we're hoping that we will be able to get a little bit more between now and August 19th. On our commercial accounts, we started out with 143. We are down to 67 as of July 10th. And again, Burtech is in the library, but if the residents who do owe the refuse bills wish to make payment before the August 19th deadline, they can contact Burtech. We have provided the hours of operation and a telephone. And just to kind of give you a comparison, in your last lien process in 2023-24, we were down to 19 1,944 parcels, and it was about $625,000 that ended up going on to the tax rolls and became delinquent. So we're close. We're hoping that the public will respond. Again, Burtech is in the library lobby right now. They are set up to be able to take payments to avoid this process of being placed on liens. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have any questions to speak? Does anyone wish to speak on this item? Madam City Clerk?
I have one speaker for public comment, Javier Zambrano.
If you hear a name, please come up to the podium. You could turn on the mic, sir. Thank you.
Hi, dear members of the City Council. My name is Javier Zambrano. I'm the accountant for Club Trinidad. We've been making regular payments on our Burtech waste collection normally on a monthly basis. But we received this letter regarding delinquent from 21 through 24. And this is a bar, it's not a restaurant. And we pay our normal collection for our waste trash. So I don't know why we received this letter of delinquency. So I object to the matter because we don't have a kitchen in which we have to dispose of food collection or food waste. So that's why I'm objecting to this collection. If I need to talk to somebody personally, we can do that, but I don't know what else to say, but we don't use that type of waste. And we never receive any collection, what do you call it, one of the dispensers that they use. So is there anything else, maybe something I don't know regarding this matter?
Staff?
If the gentleman would like to go out and meet with the Burtech staff, we will work through it and see what the issues are and resolve it for him.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
Is there another speaker, Madam City Clerk?
That was it.
Oh, that's all? Okay. All right. You're welcome, sir. I'm now closing the public hearing at 5:52 p.m. for deliberation and action. Do we have any discussion or comments from the council? Councilmember Figueroa?
Thank you. I'm not sure if I completely understood what the gentleman was saying, something about from 2021 to 24. I'm not sure, are these collections are just from the previous year, or is this from the past year, not from any year prior to the past year, or am I misunderstanding that?
The collection period is actually from 2021 through 2024, Councilmember. The reason that you have some that are backdated such as this is that sometimes the individuals will come to the Burtech and ask to make payment arrangements, and then they will ultimately default. And so some of these go back in time, and that's why we cover the period at fiscal year 2021 through 2024.
Okay, so then that leads me to, for whatever reason, I thought it was just for the past year, but that then leads me to a little bit of a concern, and I only know this because it happened to me. I think it was maybe about 2 years ago, I don't remember exactly when. I do not automatic payments, but online payments. I receive the bill every 2 months, and then I go onto my Chase app or whatever, and I put in the amount that I owe. about a month or two later, I received a notice of a lack of payment. And I'm going, well, no, that's not true. I paid it. What had happened is that the address that Burtek was using about 2 years ago or so changed from one location to another. And I needed to update that on my Chase app, Pay, whatever it is that I use. And so I'm worried and concerned that are there any on this list that maybe the same thing happened to them as well? Because I did receive that notification of no payment, and I immediately paid it with the updated new address. I don't remember. This was like 2 years ago, and so I don't remember the change where it went from one place to another. I just don't want anybody who is potentially delinquent, maybe the same thing happened to them. Is there any way that we can verify that maybe somebody isn't in that same situation?
We have sent them out notices. It would be somewhat difficult to try to verify every single person's address, but if we need to do that, I think we can try to get that, try to accomplish that, maybe do some additional reach out between now and August 19th.
Okay. The other thing, too, is that I noticed routinely we get a list of addresses of the ones that are delinquent. In this case, we only received the APN number. And I bring that up because in the past I would just skim through some of the addresses that are listed, and I recognized a few of them, some big major commercial properties, and I reached out to them like, hey, what's going on here? Contacted the president of the organization, whatever, and they weren't aware, so they immediately were like, oh, we'll fix it right away. In this case, I wasn't able to actually skim through it because it's just an APN number. I have no way of identifying, who it might belong to. I think in the future it'd be beneficial so that, because I'll pick up, if I recognize it, I'll pick up the phone and tell them, hey, pay your bill, and they do. So I guess it's a request for future if maybe, hey, like, we can identify it other than APN numbers? Or
Yes,
is there a reason for it?
We can, I think that was kind of an oversight on our part in the process. What we can do is we will prepare a report and get that back to the council members that show the actual addresses so that'll help you identify anybody that you may know and be able to assist in getting them caught up. So we will get that to you in the next week.
Thank you. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we're using the APN numbers instead of an address. If we can go back to using the addresses, because it's a 13-digit number, and that doesn't mean anything to anyone. So with that, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any further comments from the council? Seeing none, there is a motion, a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Kelvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We will now move on to City Manager's update. City Manager, please proceed with the City Manager's report.
Thank you. I'd like to invite our Public Information Officer, Jeff Krause, up to give this report today. Thank you. Well, he might not be in the room, so I will. Can you hand me the? Earlier this month, we had the unveiling of the San Bernardino mural from the Rudy C. Hernandez Community Center. Apologize, I was not expecting to get this report. Excuse me, give me 1 second. And the local artist is Christian Mariscal. In recent years, Mariscal was a former graffiti artist and has created murals in parks and community centers across the city. He also has worked with San Bernardino Public Works Department to creatively paint utility boxes and benches to successfully discourage graffiti at more than 50 locations throughout San Bernardino. And I'm turning it over to Jeff. Thank you.
Good evening. My apologies. Usually a little later in the agenda. Let's see, where are we? So we talked about the Rudy Hernandez mural. Working with Christian Mariscal is so wonderful. He does such a wonderful job around town at the utility boxes, the benches, and of course the murals. Couldn't be luckier to have somebody like him in the community. If you notice the gentleman right behind my shoulder, that is Ken Chapa, our new Economic Development Director. Ken joined us on Monday. He has nearly 20 years of experience and substantial success in directing large-scale economic development and tourism initiatives at the municipal and state level in Arizona, Nevada, and Michigan. He oversees a relatively new department that was broken away from the Community Development Department and oversees both economic development and real estate. So welcome aboard, Ken. Speaking of economic development, we have several new businesses that celebrated ribbon cuttings in the past week and a half. The first of which is Flats, Wings, and Fry Haven. Not Haven is misspelled in the second paragraph. Located on 2nd Street at the Superior Grocery Shopping Center. Their access is actually across the street from the Santa Fe Depot, but they have both wings, flatbread pizzas, and their owner is a trained culinary chef, and the sauces are absolutely phenomenal. So please take a chance to stop over at Flats, Wings, and Fry Haven. And the 7-Eleven on 5th Street had their grand opening ribbon cutting last week. They are part of the 5th Street Gateway project that includes the Starbucks and Del Taco, creating quite a commercial corridor off the 215 freeway on 5th Street. So welcome to San Bernardino to both of them. August is the month. We have been waiting for the paintbrush program, which is our facade improvement program, which will be going to help support the cleanup and beautification of businesses along commercial corridors here in San Bernardino. The applications, as I mentioned, will be available in August. Details are forthcoming, but businesses can qualify for grants between $10,000 and $20,000 to improve and beautify their properties. And there are a couple strings attached, such as much like our business and nonprofit grant program from last year, you must work with the Small Business Development Center to take a training class as well as meet with a counselor to learn more about ways to have your business succeed. But we expect this program the demand to outweigh the supply of funds. So please keep an eye on the Economic Development website so that you can definitely participate if you're interested. The fire department. Last Friday, the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District deployed a brand new ladder truck to the city of San Bernardino. It is at Station 224 near the corner of Highland and E Street. Cars don't cost and trucks don't cost what they used to. Fully equipped, this vehicle cost over $3 million. But it is now in San Bernardino to deal with multi-story responses, and we're glad that this piece of equipment is now in San Bernardino. Another program that has been long awaited that is now active, it is the Animal Services Pet Voucher Program to subsidize and underwrite pet care. This just went live. And it allows for San Bernardino residents to get a $500 voucher, a voucher for up to $500 for services such as spay neutering, dental services, urinary tract infections, minor wound care, eye care, and more. Funding is limited. This is thanks to a grant that we received from California for All Animals. What you must do is you and your pet must make an appointment with the Animal Services Department, go see them, and then they will authorize the voucher. They are taking up to 5 appointments a day. This program just went live, so now is the time to get your animal in to get that health care, because animal service, veterinary health care not only is limited, but it is not cheap. So it's a great way to assist residents of San Bernardino with their pet care. Fireworks update. I don't know if Mr. Hood is still here, but I want to congratulate the police department. During the period leading up to the 4th of July, San Bernardino police officers seized 17,695 pounds of illegal fireworks and wrote 28 citations, made 34 arrests as part of its annual fireworks enforcement. Just to do the math for you, 17,695 pounds is more than 8.5 tons of fireworks taken off the street. I know, at least in my neighborhood, that it seemed like there were fewer aerial fireworks. Doesn't help if the one going off is next door to you, but I also know that PD calls for services were down this year as well. So hopefully taking 17,000 pounds took a little bit of supply off of the streets this year. So congratulations and thank you to the police. And since our first meeting of August is not until August 7th, I believe, next on Tuesday, August 6th, is the annual National Night Out, which brings together police and neighbors. This year, it will be at Paris Hill Park's Roosevelt Bowl. If you went to last year's, as always, it was a wonderful time. So Tuesday, August 6th, between 4 and 7 at Paris Hill Park's Roosevelt Bowl. Food, game, demonstrations, music, information booths, getting a chance to meet your local officers. And there will be a special flyover by the Sheriff's Department helicopter at the event. So make your plans to be out there. It's just a wonderful event. And with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Jeff. We will now move to public comments. At this time, public comments will be heard for items on the open session and items not on the agenda. To address the City Council, everyone must complete a speaker card and provide it to the City Clerk. Only those speaker cards turned into the City Clerk will be allowed to address the City Council. No late cards will be accepted. Each person should state their name for the record. Once again, if you require Spanish interpretation, we do have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time to indicate you will need translation assistance. In addition, we have interpreting listening devices available in the back.
En este momento se escucharán los comentarios públicos. Para dirigirse al Consejo Municipal, cada individuo debe completar una tarjeta de orador. Se debe completar la tarjeta de orador y entregarla a la Secretaría Municipal en este momento. Solo aquellas tarjetas de orador entregadas a la Secretaría podrán dirigirse al Consejo Municipal. No se aceptarán tarjetas tardías. Cada persona debe indicar su nombre para el registro.
Thank you. Gracias. I believe we have 17 speakers, Madam City Clerk?
That is
okay,
correct.
we have 17 speakers tonight. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Madam City Clerk, please call the names.
Okay. Treasurer Ortiz, Carmen Gallegos, Al Palazzo, Selena, Robert Porter, Dolores Armstead, Bertha Barra, Jim Smith, Jose Mendoza, and Mike Hartley.
Treasurer Ortiz, I wanted to welcome Mr. Chapa to the city of San Bernardino. There's been a lot of conversation about you, given other employees who have come in from the city of Avondale, but I want you to know that people have reached out and said really good things about you. So I'm looking forward to the things that you're doing, or going to do. And I've seen some of your work, and it's impressive. So what we need really is a stronghold in economic development. And one of the things we lack, and when we bring new people here, especially those with really good qualifications, is a general plan, is guidance, is a specific plan. We were so out of date on housing, and we put this housing element together, but there is no cohesive foundation of approval. And I see people continually getting approved to sit on these citizen committees and commissions, but we don't meet. Rarely, animal shelters stop meeting, the downtown general plan, they're not getting their input and putting in, so what's the purpose? Because if we don't have a plan in place, there is no future to take hold of. There's nothing to work towards. And in meeting with different business owners and entrepreneurs and just residents who are looking for a place to live, it's a free-for-all still, and being able to rezone, and I was meeting with the people who are doing the pallets who are being cited, people who are meeting with trucks, people who don't want pallet yards next to their house, and there's nothing that comes from the city that gives anybody a clear-cut description and vision for the city of San Bernardino. And so it's time. Why haven't we approved the things that PlaceWorks told you they gave you a year and a half ago? Where's the update on that? The new housing developments that are going in, that went in that's coming to the 6th Ward 1, I believe right on Meridian, they came into your ward. These were supposed to be single-family homes that were market-rate housing. They're all becoming rental communities. So what does that mean? What does it look like as renters in the future? Is San Bernardino going to become a fully rental community? Are we going to be able to have housing? What does the downtown look like? I was really surprised to see an email from Charles Montoya, from the mayor, that she went and presented in Boston her idea of downtown San Bernardino, that they were working with a consultant without the knowledge of the council, without any guidance. With Susie Soren working as a deputy city manager in December, what I'm trying to figure out is, how do we lead? How do you create leadership if you guys don't know what's going on? If it's never going to be solidified on paper. So I ask you guys tonight, let the commissions meet. Make sure that our directors are being successful in the tasks that you give them, and that there's a vision for San Bernardino after your tenure. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello. Yes, I'm Carmen Gallegos. I'm probably the most called person in one place. Anyway, so addressing today, I'm just was going to get a letter from the council to see if to cover the I guess the budget there was for sidewalks, but evidently it was approved in June by Public Works, and that actually was the overgrowth that it believes the overgrowth of trees, which I think they should replenish all the trees and take it to all the burnt fire locations, but also to teach it to replant too. And I was going to talk to him about it, or you. Anyway, so I'm going to get together with him to show the problem that I have down the street. And like I said, there's been a lot of people that illegal dumped, and they were teaching the people they left in charge to illegal dump also was doing the fire hazard, which was the trees too. So of course that was the problem too. So you have people teaching each other to illegal dump. And that actually illegal dump, not only products, but people. And they just use them as, you know, a staging area too, which is worse. But I'm glad they're taking it out, they're doing better. Code enforcement, if they could just take a look around when they do go to certain locations for things and find out too what the problems are on the sidewalks and the streets. Because those trees also anchor down after years of not being checked. I mean, they should put boulders down. But like the fireworks, I'm glad they're controlling that, because that was like using they are like matchsticks to around here. And I think that they don't deserve to have trees if they're not going to take care of it. Anyways, to replant would be better. Anyway, so thank you very much. That's for today. And you're doing a good job. And hopefully the animals get free licenses because they deserve it.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Al Palazzo. With no offense, sir, I don't know you, but I applied for that job when Mr. Montoya was here, and I was never interviewed. I'm sure I could learn something from you, but I have been proposing for 50 years a very thorough plan to rebuild this city. And all of you, except two on the council, have refused to take my vision tour. You could have learned so much from me. You are depriving the people of San Bernardino of the ideas that you have no idea about. No idea about. I would like to be this man's boss. You now know it's no secret I'd like to be city manager. The city manager position, no offense to the current city manager, but I was told we've had 13 in 13 years. Why is that? The reason is you've been doing things the same old way. You need to think outside the box. We need a visionary. We need a leader. We need a person who can explain development on a grand scale. And I guarantee you, if you had taken my vision tour, this gentleman would have never come up with those ideas because he is from the outside. And my ideas required growing up in San Bernardino, working in the entire county, and traveling the world. I just came back from Paris, and I was on the Rue Rivoli looking at the Louvre, the Regina Hotel, and looking at architecture, and I was saying, boy, that's complicated, but we can simplify it, and we can do that in San Bernardino. Who does that? Who spends thousands of dollars? Remember, a couple months ago, I said, I need a break. It's somebody that can make a difference in San Bernardino. I am 75 years old now. I don't have a lot of years left. You, Kimberly, my council person, you were too busy to give me 3 hours of your time. Mr. Alexander, Mayor, Charette, we went to high school together. And I got the highest scholarship in the entire school. And open up your yearbook, and I'm on the academic decathlon team, then called the Challenge Bowl. What does that tell you? I'm no dummy. I have grand ideas, bold ideas to rebuild a city, and you don't want to hear them. So what are we going to do? I'm going to keep coming every 2 weeks, and you make your appointment for city manager. But we need a visionary, like Treasurer said, a thorough plan.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please state your name.
Hello, Dolores Armstead. Good evening. First, we need an update to the city's general plan. Due to the general plan not being updated since 2006, we are forced to consider warehouse and truck parking in the middle of residential neighborhoods. It's not fair to the residents or businesses. Can we get a moratorium on warehouse and truck parking facilities? Other cities have done that. We need to update our general plan. Next, where is the city regarding the city financial authority? The last we heard, the governing body of the financing authority is the city council. That is a dangerous precedent giving this city's oversight history. Who on this council has the expertise? None of you. We need an audit of the city's financing, especially after that last city manager. Then, what is the status of Oxbow? When is the city going to address that issue? Almost another windy season is upon us, and nothing's happened. People continue to get sick. There's more toxics. Mayor Tran, you and the left side, what are you doing to help the people? I guess those residents aren't paying enough because they're not getting any assistance. Then, what about the downtown revitalization plan? For over 2 years, we as a community thought we were on track with a plan to make downtown San Bernardino a destination spot. But that went away with one vote last May. And then the general plan and downtown specific plan came to a stop also due to the mayor and city manager. The city had a development company, San Bernardino Development Company, who the mayor and city manager at that time never responded to, though they were hired by the city. The company had plans and potential investors, but it went nowhere because they got no response. The city itself, the bureaucracy, does not have the resource or knowledge to take over this project. You need someone with expertise. However, I am hearing whispers today also, besides, that Mayor Tran has already approached a redevelopment company. Do you on the dais know who it is? What she said? What she's promised? Don't the taxpayers get to hear their plans? We're paying for it. Our tax dollars are paying for it. Or is this another pay-to-play move? The taxpayers and citizens should have the opportunity to hear information regarding downtown for ourselves, ask questions, and come to our own conclusion about the next step forward in revitalizing our downtown. We're paying for it. The San Bernardino Development Company was more than willing to work with the city. We need somebody to work with us. People, watch who you elect. We already pay for all this with our taxes. Watch who you elect.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Selena. So I'm here to speak on behalf of the animals. Oh, thank you. On behalf of the animals, as always, you know, seeing the vouchers, $500, amazing, amazing. That's what we need. That's what we need to see, the grants coming for our city, for the residents. The only issue that I have and I see, because I'm out there and not in just my ward, I'm driving around, you know, making connections with the residents, mainly the older residents that don't have social media. They're not walking in to the San Bernardino City Shelter to pick up a flyer. So how are we spreading that word? How are we getting it out there to the people that actually need it, that don't have the funds for that, that don't have contact in any way to even know what services we do have for them? 4th of July, I had to text pictures and post it on my Ring app and everything like that to spread the word. You know, we're coming in here and trying to do that because, again, there was just flyers in the shelter itself, and nobody's walking in there. Why are they going to come in there and walk in there for, right? You know, so we need an action plan as far as how can we help with the community, because obviously I've been coming and talking about taking the contracts of Riverside. And unfortunately, you know, there's so many numbers of killings. And Councilman Ibarra, a couple meetings ago, you said, oh, I don't want San Bernardino City Shelter to be known as a kill shelter. It's been known as a kill shelter, and it's going to continue, even way past because of that Riverside contract takeover. It's good that we're having programs, but I feel like the animals that are being killed are falling through the cracks. That's not being talked about here because they're reporting the numbers of the adoptions. They're reporting of all these awesome things that we're doing. Well, what's the report of all the animals that have been killed for fearful, for stress? You know, obviously they're gonna get that way. Animal commissioners meeting, we don't even have those anymore. That's what we need to bring back, because you need to hear what we have to say so we can work as a community with the community that really need it to help, especially what's going on with the contracts that we're taking over. How can we help with spay and neuter? The homeless, again, the homeless encampments filled with animals, they're not coming and getting spay and neuters, they're not getting the vouchers, but sure enough, they're over there populating so many animals, and what's going to happen? Then you have them on the streets, you have attacks, you have, it's just everything at the moment. So action plan, what are we doing? What's the action plan? I always come prepared, written and everything like that, but I just feel a little bit exhausted, you know, disheartening and all. It's just a lot emotionally, and I'm just trying, and I hope you guys really listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Jose Mendoza. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and members of the public. My name is Jose Mendoza, and I'm the commander for the Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 12, San Bernardino, California. It was my honor to be the keynote speaker at this year's Memorial Day event provided by the City of San Bernardino and Parks and Recreation. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share the message of the meaning of Memorial Day. We at the San Bernardino chapter are leading the way, and it's not going unnoticed. We've received numerous awards this year. The positive impact that we're making in the city of San Bernardino is catching throughout the Department of California Disabled American Veterans. We were featured last week on Channel 7 with Feeding America, Combating Hunger in our community with our food bank and our holiday food giveaway. DAV Chapter 12 was also recognized by the National Orange Show during their Military Appreciation Dinner. Another positive note, we have another large city project that will be commencing really soon. Thank you to Ms. Gutfield, I know she just stepped out right now. Ernesto Salinas, and Christian, the gentleman that just did the mural for the city, he'll be doing a mural at our property. So we're pleased for that. We would love for the community to be part of our volunteering effort. Tomorrow we will have our chapter meeting with a free barbecue. We are located at 2501 Pacific Street, San Bernardino, California, across the street from San Bernardino Soccer Complex and San G High School. In closing, DAV Chapter 12 will be turning 100 years this January 2025. And we are honored to have City Council, the Mayor, Parks and Recreation, Public Works, and all who were involved and made this possible. Again, thank you for my time. My name is Jose Mendoza. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Robert Porter, lifelong San Bernardinian, born and raised. Mayor, council, good people. I came today to speak on clean streets. So we talked in the past about maybe getting street signs for street sweeping. And I think it should come up again. And I know some people will be mad at me because nobody likes to get fines and tickets and things for getting a street sweeping ticket. But when I continuously watch the Bird Tech drivers have to go down the middle of the street, that doesn't clean the street. I clean in front of my house. There's not a piece of trash in front of it unless it blew in there today. But others don't have the time and opportunity to always be doing that. So if we could like have a street sweeper go by and clean it up, and then I also notice an issue with the cars that don't move, that never move. And we all know they got the spider webs on them and things. There's revenue possibilities in this angle. And how you would go about it is look at other cities' template that are making money off of doing this. So it's not going to cost money. It's going to end up making money in the long run. And not too much money, just enough to where it deters people from parking there when the street sweeper's got to come by. They do it in LA. In fact, they do it in LA. If you be parking on the street right there, guess what they do? Yeah, they put boot on that thing right there. Tow it out of there, right? Especially with trash cans and things. So we're starting to be very populated. Our areas are starting to fill up with cars. Maybe it's time that we work on cleaning the streets in that angle. And I know we already visited it once, and I'm hoping we can do it again. Thank you very much, team, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Mike Hartley. I hope in the library's budget you have their power bill up, because I got to tell you, I think it's 62 degrees in here. And I know I'm in shorts, but I'm freezing my off. So anyhow, the next thing. Mr. Damon Alexander, I appreciate you being adamant with Bird Tech on giving senior citizens a 10% discount, which I think comes down to about $5.20. I want you to know that my wife and I produce a 10-gallon trash bag every week. It's a 40-gallon trash can, so I can take my black trash can out every month, and most of the senior citizens on my block do the same. My blue can I can take out once a month. My green can is once every week. Why? Because I have a lawn and I have to mow it, where most of the residents in San Bernardino have dirt. But their black trash cans are filled to the top. With code, I believe those, according to Bird Tech even, those lids are supposed to be closed. I have several pictures where I can show you where multiple people are living in these houses, only have one black trash can. They don't use the green trash can, and they don't use the blue trash can. As far as I'm concerned, senior citizens should only be charged $25 every 2 months. Now, as far as Robert Porter's talking about cars on the street, the police chief has given me most of his parking enforcement guys, and we have removed 20 cars off the street in 1 week. One of them was stolen. That's how many cars we have out on the street. And I've been saying about street sweeping signs for a couple of years now. And now we have Bird Tech only sweeping my street once a month when it's supposed to be 2 times a month. So our streets aren't getting any cleaner. So if you guys want to look into that, and Damon, if you could talk to Burtech about giving senior citizens a 50% discount, I'd appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
My name is James Smith, and I'd like to address the mayor and city council people and good people in the audience. I think we've heard some very good things tonight. I wanted to also encourage everyone to go by 2nd and Lugo Street at Hernandez Center and see the new mural that we have for the city of San Bernardino. I went to that dedication as a member of the Arts and Historical Preservation Commission, and Lydia, I think, went out of the room, but she is doing a tremendous, tremendous job. She told us all about the history of San Bernardino, and she gave a presentation about San Bernardino, every part of that San Bernardino. She said there's a history behind that, and I think that's so important to preserve the history of California and work on the image of the city of San Bernardino. That was a red letter day for the city of San Bernardino that morning. And I wanted to thank the mayor, and also Judge Baca was there. We had many, Damon Alexander was there to represent the city, and I think it was a tremendous opportunity to tell people the good things that are happening in the city of San Bernardino. We talked a little bit earlier about commissions, and there's a commission that my good friend Tim Priss is on, is not meeting right now, and it's a charter review committee. And I think we need to reactivate that committee because we need to have that committee meeting and come back with recommendations to the city of San Bernardino. I think that's extremely important. And I want to compliment the city for what they're doing to starting a committee to talk about the homeless situation we have in the city of San Bernardino. I drove by Paris Hill Park today. It's terrible. And we have a wonderful, wonderful Park and Recreation committee that's doing a tremendous job with the parks here in San Bernardino. We need to give credit. She's not only going out beyond the city resources, she's getting grants from the state, and I think they deserve accommodation for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speakers are Gina Mireles, Pamela Hall, Luis Ojeda, Lydia Zavala, Sharon Negrete, Georgia Al, Dominic Antunes, and Cordu Handy.
Please state your name.
Gina Mireles, President and founder of Mexican American Mothers Advocating for Students. I want to thank whoever was responsible for our ability to use this room next Saturday, July 27th. And this time I would also like to request that the city waive the $185 fee, because that will translate into 350 flyers. We want to put out 1,000 flyers because we want 400 parents here. I am an expert in the field of education because I worked 10 years with the prestigious Etiwanda School District. I worked 5 years with San Bernardino City Unified as a certified substitute teacher. The education system is failing all of the children. On the date that Sean Judson, former superintendent of Etiwanda, placed me on leave, an Asian child attempted suicide because he was being bullied by a Caucasian child. You can only imagine what I have seen in the 5 years I was a sub with this school district. That is the third largest district in the state. Children should be safer at school than they are at home because any idiot can be a parent. But to be a teacher, you at least have to have an undergraduate degree. So, Madam Mayor, I'm leaving my draft flyers for you. So that way you can share, and please join us. It's Saturday, July 27th. The presentation in Spanish will be at 11, and the one in English at 1 p.m. Now, we also need an ordinance regarding the domestic terrorists that I've been dealing with for 5 years at Mountain View apartment complex down the street. This woman is placed in our community because her parents own a $1.2 million home out in LA County, and they bought this 80 or 90,000 one-bedroom condo for their 39-year-old deadbeat daughter that targets the children of immigrants. She assaulted an 11-year-old Latino boy in 2012 and was given white privilege because she's currently on probation for assaulting his mother. She did not assault the Mexican woman, she assaulted the 11-year-old boy. Her name is Lindsay Cirincione. And this is a picture of her with her German Shepherd. Insurance companies do not insure German Shepherds for condominiums because they are an at-risk dog. This is Bruno, the 6-year-old that she threatened with the dog. I've gone to San Bernardino Police Department, and they are so incompetent, it's offensive. What happens in the police department here in San Bernardino isn't happening in Ontario. So we need an ordinance that will close her loophole.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll leave the invitation and the breeds of dogs that need to be added on that ordinance.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Hi, my name's Pamela Hall. I am here to talk about animal issues in our city. I am an animal rescuer of 30 years. I am on the street every day helping homeless, injured, and abandoned animals. I not only feed feral and community cats, I get them medical attention when needed and spayed and neutered. This city needs more spay and neuter opportunities for community cats. A few months ago, the Paw Mission worked with the shelter for some reason. The Paw Mission was granted a grant from Best Friends, but the city somehow worked together with them to make the appointments for the spay neuters, and the mobile unit was on the shelter property doing the spay and neuters. It lasted for about a month and then vanished, so I'm not sure why that program ended so quickly. I find it hard to believe that they spent the entire grant in a month. So I'm kind of wondering who's overseeing that and ensuring that that actually happened. They also, when that came to an end, they started doing programs for unincorporated San Bernardino areas, which is great, but I want to know what happened to the residents of the city being able to do that. As a resident of this city and trying to control the population of community cats, we should have resources to help us, because right now I'm using all of my time, my tools. I buy traps, nets, catch poles. I spend all my own money doing it on my own time, as are several other people. So the city needs to offer more, get back on board with TNR for feral and community cats. As far as our puny, pathetic, inadequate animal shelter, we recently added 3 more cities to our animal control contract, yet nothing has been done to this piece of crap shelter to improve it or add kennels. Meanwhile, there are piles of kennels sitting on the shelter property for months where nothing has been done with them. There hasn't been a single kennel added. Was there something you guys wanted to say? When someone's speaking, you should be paying attention to them, not talking to each other. So, that's
Thank
it,
you,
I
ma'am.
guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Lydia Savala, Animal Welfare. I think we could all agree that animal services is an easy target because of inevitably there are animals that are euthanized. But I'd like you to pay special attention this evening because there are new and different concerns being raised this evening. And these different issues are different in that it's not just about budgeting or allocating more money. It's about the failure to utilize and execute programs as promised through the generosity of the San Manuel Band of Indians, who donated millions in grant money to our community. I'm here to say it's time to stop treating your constituents like peasants by only offering microchips and vaccines that come at a very inexpensive cost to the city, maybe $5 each. It's helpful, but it doesn't reduce the pet overpopulation. And it is clear to me that our city has no intention of hiring relief vets for the short term or a foreign vet for the long term as part of the H-1B visa program. If the intentions of our city were honorable, a staff member would be assigned or hired to manage the mobile unit. Software to schedule appointments online would have been purchased. Relief vets would be interviewed for the short term, and an immigration attorney would be hired to handle foreign applicants. From Canada, Mexico, they would be interviewed in January or February of 25, and they would be selected to enter, a candidate would be selected to enter the H-1B lottery, and the draw is in April of 25. Employment would commence in October of 25. I believe the lack of action is attributable to our local culture, giving animals bottom-rung importance. For 25 years, I lived in Orange County, and I was surrounded by neighbors who treated pets like members of the family, not the life of an outdoor dog. My perspective has changed because of the local culture. And my favorite author, intellectual hero, Malcolm Gladwell, states that local culture has a powerful impact on how we handle matters in our community. He wrote, "Cultural legacies are powerful forces. They have deep roots and long lives. They persist generation after generation, virtually intact, even as the economic and social demographic conditions that spawned them have vanished. And they play such a role in directing attitudes and behavior that we cannot make sense of our world without them. Our local culture needs to change, and we need to put our animals on the top rung."
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Council. Dereliction of duty is the intentional or unintentional failure to perform one's job duties or to do so poorly. Malfeasance, the performance of an act that is legally unjustified, harmful, or contrary to law, especially by a public official or a person in a position of public trust. Hundreds of thousands in grant funding has not been used for the purpose intended. Hundreds of thousands. I have a list of all the grants that we have received that I have not seen any evidence really of them being used in our community. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's a dereliction of duty. The failure to roll out, launch, or initiate any program in the community using these funds is irresponsible and another dereliction of duty. How was this money spent? We'd like to know. I don't know anyone that has benefited from this money, including myself, and I'm sure other people in this room that is speaking out. I have benefited from the Lang Foundation's program. They helped me spay a female dog that I found or scanned on the street of San Bernardino. And by the way, who's still sitting in the lobby of animal control services over there. That's like trash. Intact animals resulting in pregnancies while in custody, release of intact animals returning pregnant, among other failures, indicate a breach of duty, malfeasance. Animals that are not irremediably suffering killed the same day without calls for rescue, or they are killed with a commitment of rescue. That's against the law, and I believe that would be malfeasance. Inaccurate statistics meant to mislead us from the reality of our crisis. Lack of transparency or trust, even the volunteers are afraid to speak out. The kennels that are on pallets on the property at Animal Services, I suspect, are the kennels that Animal Services Director requested $185,000 for back in March of 2023. I believe those kennels are still sitting on pallets on a slab of concrete. We have enough of these failures, and our community does not trust this department. We have vouchers that were just released, thankfully, but it was 7 months too late.
Thank you.
Hello, City Council and Mayor. I, Sharon Negretti, am here today to serve 4th Ward Councilman Fred Zarette and 1st Ward Councilman Theodore Sanchez pursuant to Section 11020 of California Elections Code, this notice of intention to circulate recall petition. This is for you, Fred. Oh, you missed that. Okay. So I'll give this to the clerk. Lewis Carroll once said, "Nothing would be what it is because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't be, it would." This quote seems all too fitting for this current administration. It's hard to ignore the resemblance between Carroll's words and the ineffective leadership of our city council. Under your watch, we're spiraling down a path of confusion and inaction, much like the descent into a bottomless rabbit hole. Our community deserves more than this circus act. The glaring absence of a veterinarian still in our city is downright unacceptable. Are you sure that our shelter director is doing everything possible to employ a veterinarian? I said it last time, and I'll say it again. She will have to answer to a veterinarian, which could be the reason why we don't have one yet. The failure to address this essential need shows a blatant disregard for the well-being of our community, especially our animals that are dying every day. The reckless decisions made by this council, including the ill-advised partnership with 3 other cities, have resulted in unnecessary suffering for our animals. Your short-sightedness and lack of basic logic is appalling. You guys need to do something. This is ridiculous, really. Animals are dying. They're dying. Please.
Thank you. City Clerk? She says she has something to give you.
The council members need to be served personally. I cannot accept on their behalf.
Okay. Next speaker, please state your name.
Wow.
San Bernardino never means to amaze me. I have my comment already right here, and then you just drop this on us? What? A recall? We don't have enough problems here or what? Oh my goodness, you know, I was told this like 5 minutes before it was my turn to speak, and I didn't believe it. I said, we're not that stupid, I mean, to do that. Yeah, well, I think we are. We are. And this is, I mean, you know, people get very passionate about politics, and sometimes the emotions, you know, gets the best of them when they don't think right. But I feel that this is the problem with the city, you know, the lack of consistency in elected officials and directors. Everybody thinks they have the magic bullet to get it done right. So here we go again, okay? We're known throughout the county to be a very dysfunctional city because of the dysfunctional and toxic politics that we have here. And we are proving everybody right. So I don't understand, you know, whomever is doing this, I mean, we just have elections. So they want to spend more money to do other elections, and then what happened? Lack of consistency. So honestly, I'm very disappointed at this, okay? And I hope that the people that is doing this know what they're doing, because I know this before, they have done it before, and it doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work. So because, I mean, we have so many problems, so many issues. Why don't you spend your money instead of trying to recall people? Why don't we push to get a specific general plan? I mean, you guys talk about, trucks and the environment and they're polluting. I mean, look, why don't we do things right? Why don't we have a general specific plan? Okay, where the trucks go? Over here, the palace over there, and the warehouse over there. I mean, I think that's more important, you know? So for me, it's about trying to move forward. And with this kind of action, we get stuck in nonsense. And the toxic political environment that the city of San Bernardino is known for. I'm sorry, people. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, are there any other speakers?
Cordu, Handy, Dominic, Antunes. Those are the last two, the speaker slips I have.
They're not here?
Okay.
Okay.
So then we received written correspondence from Adam Apesh and Jacqueline Silvestri, and those emails were provided to you.
Thank you. We will now move on to consent calendar. Items 6 to 12. It's not 7 o'clock yet. Oh, sorry. We will stop at 7 for public hearing. Item number 4, correct?
We can wait until after
Or-
consent,
We can,
as long as it's after 7.
okay. All right, so there's a motion to move the consent. Councilmember Reynoso, 12. Councilmember Sanchez, do you have any poll? Councilmember Ibarra? No?
None.
Councilmember Figueroa?
No polls, but I do want to make comment on 10 and 12. And I'll do them together, so it's,
Okay.
but it's not a poll.
Mayor Pro Tem? Mayor Pro Tem?
Oh, no, I move approval.
Councilmember Calvin?
No polls.
Councilmember Alexander?
No pools.
Okay, so we have 10 and 12. And is there a motion? I believe there's a motion.
Second.
There's a second.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously to approve the consent. with
Thank
the items
you.
pulled.
Item number 10, Councilmember Figueroa, I know you want to speak to both.
Correct, and it's not, and I'm only doing this because we really don't get too many opportunities to speak on various issues unless it's on the agenda, you know, and the only way to get it on there from our point is for council members or, well, anyways. The reason I bring it up is because number 10 deals with, it's the homes up in the Verdemont area. And then the reason I also identified 12 is because that's the SBCTA University Parkway project. And the reason I bring this up is because I think it would be very important as we start moving into the future, especially with development and growth up in that area, to look at other, a little bit further up on Palm and potentially even Little League, because God forbid there's some tragic event that happens up there, fires, a massive evacuation that needs to occur. Palm, as it already is, I mean, it is gridlock. It's pretty bad up there. And so what I would like to see in the future, or what I would at least recommend, is that as a council collectively, and Mayor, I know that you do sit on the SBCTA board and I believe on a few subcommittees as well. I think it would be very important that as a council we do come together with either it's a letter of support or, and I'm just using that metaphorically, but so that the mayor can go and advocate on our behalf for other projects that need to happen in the city. And I'm identifying this specific area because it is a big need. I'm sure there are other areas that do have a need, but I think it would be really a great opportunity for us as a council to come together to identify certain areas. But I'm just choosing this area because I recognize that it is a big need up in that area, especially with traffic and gridlock. I know that there are other projects happening with SBCTA in other areas that I do occasionally drive past. I don't really see it as an urgent need, but hey, that's fine. It's something that needs to happen. But this area up on Palm is very urgent. And if we're going to continue to grow in that area, this is something that needs to be identified. And so what I wanted to suggest is that we as a council to come together so that the mayor can go with full confidence to SBCTA and say, hey, look, this is something that the city would really like a study to happen with, is something to alleviate the traffic problem, especially in that area. And so that's why I wanted to bring this up, because again, we don't get too many opportunities to speak on it unless it's on the agenda. So I wanted to take this opportunity to identify that so that, again, Mayor, you can go to that board and just say, look, this is something that the city, the council, and the mayor, and again, I don't want to speak on anybody's behalf here, but if that happens, I would like for you to go with full confidence and say, this is something that needs to happen, and I have the city, the council support in doing so. So that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman, and I appreciate your comments and feedback, and because I believe there is a process where staff get together and meet, and Azam, would you like to elaborate? And it also provides that process through the CIP and all those feedbacks that gets discussed between staff and SBCTA. Azam?
Actually, this is one of the next projects that I'm going to be pursuing for the city is the Palm at 215 and campus. Actually, you should have two interchanges north of University that will alleviate all the traffic and the development on the north end of town. So campus is the first one, and then Palm. For the time being, actually, tonight I have the staff from SBCTA, and I asked them that same question. The first step process that we need to establish with the SBCTA is something called PSR, which is a project study report that has to be done so we can analyze all the different alternatives at that intersection, and that the city has to be the lead on it, and we have to fund it throughout all the way to what we call PAAD, which is project approval, environmental determination, and then go after federal grant money to build the interchange in conjunction with local matches, SBCTA matches, and so forth. So yes, it's one of the next projects that I have on my list too.
And thank you for that, because it'd be great to get more updates from some of the other projects. And I think some of the other boards too, like IVDA and a few of the other boards, to get maybe once a year, twice a year as far as what's going on. And so I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, will do.
And just to follow up on that, through the process that we're going to be evaluating the budget, over, I did talk about bringing that back in the next quarter, but it's going to be a series of workshops. The first workshop will be looking at all the capital projects, and that's working with staff on all the list of projects that they have for council to review. Staff gives project priorities, but it's an opportunity for council to give their opinions and requests, and of course consensus, to change those priorities or ask of staff questions and so forth, and as a whole council give priorities so that we know how to proceed with these projects and with funding sources. So that'll be, again, the first series of workshop will be capital, looking at the projects, and then we'll go back to the following workshop will be on the budget, and it'll incorporate what we get from council at the first workshop.
Thank you. Councilmember Reynoso?
Thank you, Councilman Figueroa. I've been advocating for that for a long time, but more so thank you, Azam. You're a rock star. Don't let anybody tell you differently. It's like shock after shock that we asked for something a long time ago, and I understand there's a lot of turnover here. You've had different bosses, which sucks, and I'm sorry about that. I really am. And I agree with Mr. Ojeda that is a problem that we have here. But seeing it come to life, thank you. Just knowing that it's going to happen, thank you. But number 12, wanted to ask, just straightforward. I see the gentleman in the back. Is this the final amendment for another 400 grand? This is number 12. When are you going to begin construction? And is there a projected end date, or can you give us a duration of the project? I've been seeing you for a couple of years, my friend.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Yes, this should be the final amendment. No promises, but we're ready to go to construction. So with our schedule, with the approval of the co-op amendment, we should be awarding the contract. Our executive director was given authority to award the contract. So we're thinking work should be starting early October, and the project's going to take about 1 year.
Is there some maximum allowable amendment from the city, or you understand where I'm coming from? I'm not trying to berate you in any way, but this is a lot of money.
Yeah, I know.
Over and over.
We've been here a few times asking for more money, but this should be the final one. Construction's really the last step to completing the project.
We're looking forward to it being completed. There's going to be some terrible traffic with the new developments up there, which I love that they're coming, but traffic is going to be terrible. So the sooner the better. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're really excited about the project. This will be a really good traffic relief for that area there. So,
one last thing, if you wouldn't mind, I don't know if you have any kind of community. I actually know some people I went to high school with who work for SBCCTA, but is there any kind of community forum or some kind of regular occurrence where you display this in a more digestible way? Because I think it's more like an abstract idea right now. People know it's coming, but they have no idea what it's going to look like, how it'll flow.
For sure. So now with the construction being imminent, we're now kind of ramping up our public outreach efforts. So we're working closely with staff. I think our public outreach staff is going to be reaching out to Azam and public outreach staff as well, just talk about more how we engage the community. Especially, it's a really innovative design. It's really new to the area, so I think we're going to have some information on a website, just a little education effort on how that works. So,
thank you. I don't know if my colleague had some questions for you as well.
Yeah.
Councilmember Calvin? Oh, Councilmember Saunders, did you have a question?
Move to approve.
Okay. Councilmember Calvin?
Thank you very much. So what I'm understanding is that you're wrapping up your outreach and how you guys are going to disseminate the information. So, but you definitely will be coming into the community, correct? Because this will affect a lot of people.
For sure, for sure. And again, we're looking at early October for first field day of work. We'll be working closely with staff, and definitely you'll hear more about the project as soon as when it starts.
Okay, thank you. And so we'll be able to assist you, since it really heavily affects Ward 5 and 6, that we'll be able to assist you with with community organizations that maybe you could reach out to and host some meetings there.
That'll be great. We can do that, yeah.
And also wanted to add, by the way, Azam and I we're working closely with the college, the university there, just to also keep them in the loop. they'll be one of the biggest affected entities there. So, yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
No further comments. There's a motion second. Please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously for item 12.
Okay, great. We will now go back to closed session, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
Public hearing.
I'm sorry. Public hearing. Item number 4. Public hearing on fiscal year 2024-25 assessment levies for previously formed assessment districts. I'm now opening the public hearing at 7:06 p.m. Could city staff provide a presentation at this time?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. We have with us this evening to provide the presentation Shane Spicer with Spicer Consulting Group.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council. Shane Spicer, Spicer Consultant. Brief presentation on this item. The item before you is hold the public hearing for the city's maintenance assessment districts for the fiscal year 24-25 and adopt 5 separate resolutions confirming the diagram and assessments and providing for the fiscal year levy of assessments. Brief background, the various maintenance assessment districts were established to provide operation and maintenance for landscaping, lighting, sewer lift stations, detention basins, and storm drains, including appurtenant facilities throughout the city. The assessment rates for these maintenance districts may not change from fiscal year to fiscal year dependent upon the maintenance to be performed, but cannot exceed the maximum amounts set when the districts were originally formed. There were a number of maintenance assessment districts that have no escalators, some with 2% escalators, some with a lesser of 5% or CPI, and some that increased with the change in CPI. For fiscal year 24-25, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is 4.25%. As the council may recall, on May 15th of this year, the council adopted the appropriate resolutions to commence proceedings for the annual levy of assessments for this fiscal year and set tonight the time and the place for the public hearing. There are 5 separate resolutions confirming the diagram and assessments and providing for an annual assessment levy for the fiscal year 24-25. Additionally, 5 separate engineers' reports have been prepared to include all the districts and are on file with the city clerk. These reports are all separated based on the various escalators and methodologies I previously described. The maintenance assessment districts are anticipated to generate approximately $1.4 million from the assessments collected on the tax roll, and the estimated cost for maintenance for the upcoming year is anticipated to be $1.5 million. Each of these maintenance assessment districts are responsible for covering their direct costs. With that being said, staff requests that the council adopts each of these resolutions confirming the diagrams and the levy of the assessments for fiscal year 24-25 in order for us to submit these tax rolls to the county. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Do we have any requests to speak?
We do not.
We do not. I'm now closing the public hearing at 7:09 p.m. Do we have any, for deliberation action, do we have any discussions or comments from the council?
Move to approve. Second.
There's, seeing none, there's a motion second. Please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin is not present. Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. We will now go back to closed session. Is that correct? We have one item, so thank you so much. We are going into closed session at 7:10 p.m. Okay, we are back from closed session. It is 7:36 p.m. Madam City Attorney, do we have any report for reporting?
There are no reportable actions, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Next is Mayor City Council update. Councilmember Sanchez.
Yes, tomorrow is a concert at the park at Paris Hill Park at the Roosevelt Bowl. Also, I wanted to bring up and remind everyone that even with all the struggles we have here in the city of San Bernardino, we have powerful friends who are looking at us and offering help when they can. When council members do their homework and we're able to find money like we did for Gutierrez Park, up in the 6th Ward, up on the north end of Mount Vernon. We were able to set aside $250,000 to revitalize that park. Well, we had our good friend and ally, Joe Baca Jr., county supervisor, who was matching that with $750,000. So thank you to the County Board of Supervisors. Special thanks to Joe Jr. We were able to turn a situation where there was going to be zero funding for a baseball diamond on the north end of town, or not on the west side of town, to $1 million. That's going to make a world of difference to the kids and the parents who are at that baseball diamond, you know, every weekend during baseball season. So that's what hard works look like. That's what good work looks like. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes, I have no meetings to report right now, but I do want to encourage our viewing audience at home that if you ever want to get involved in your neighborhood, we do have the Neighborhood Associations Council of San Bernardino. If you'd like to get involved, please contact the Neighborhood Association Council at nacsbcal@gmail.com to find out when your group is meeting, if there is an active group. If not, you may activate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Figueroa? None? Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
No, I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Calvin?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I wanted to remind everybody that August the 7th, it was August the 7th, is our National Night Out. August 6th, my mistake. The city of San Bernardino has been doing this. I think it's like our 3rd or 4th year. And every year it just gets better and better. So definitely want everybody to come out. I wanted to say thank you to Youth Build and the Powell Center. They had their graduation for all of their youth. They are entering into the field of construction. And Youth Build and the Powell Center are organizations that work with the youth in our city, and they are really helping these young folks. Some of them may be misdirected when they first come into the program, but they leave very directed and with a ton of skill sets in order to enter into a career in construction. So I really applaud both of those organizations. I did attend, along with Mayor Tran, St. Paul A&E's Church, their 120th anniversary. They have been in the community for a very, very long time, and so really wanted to commend them. And then there was a mental health, which I believe that you made it before I did, this weekend too, mental health workshop at the New Hope Life Center. So thank all of the community members that are doing an excellent job, but also thank Park and Recs and Public Works and Mr., is it Mariscal? Mariscal,
yes.
Christian Mariscal, for the wonderful work that he is doing in our city, because cultural murals represent cultural relevancy, and they do a lot of work, as Jeff mentioned, with deterring graffiti. And once those works of art are up, you know, it just enhances our city. So I'm very, very pleased at all of the murals that are up in our city. So thank you very much for that work.
Thank you, Councilwoman. All right, the meeting is adjourned at 7:40 p.m. The next joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council, and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, and the Mayor and City Council acting as the San Bernardino City Housing Authority, and the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino acting as the San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority will adjourn to the regular next meeting to be held on August 7th, 2024 at the Time Central Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California 92401. Closed session will begin at 4 p.m. and open session will begin at 5 p.m. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, staff, again, for all of your hard work. Good night.